မင်္ဂလာပါ Voice of Sayar Henry Podcast ကနေကြိုဆိုပါရစေအခုနားထောင်နေတာက Season 4ရဲ့ Episode 3ဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီနေ့မှာကျွန်တော်ကအထူးအစီအစဉ်တစ်ခုအနေနဲ့ငယ်တုန်းကရေးထားခဲ့တဲ့ကျွန်တော်ရဲ့လက်ရာ essay တစ်ပုဒ်ကိုနားထောင်သူတွေကိုဖတ်ပြမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ငယ်တုန်းက essay တစ်ပုဒ်ဆိုတာကဘယ်တော့လဲဆိုတော့လွန်ခဲ့တဲ့2002ပေါ့နော်2002ခုနှစ်2002တုန်းကအဲ့တော့ကျွန်တော်ထင်တယ်18 19လောက်ရှိမှာပေါ့အဲ့ဒီအရွယ်တုန်းကရေးထားတဲ့ essay တစ်ပုဒ်ရှိတယ်အဲ့ဒီ essay ကိုကျွန်တော်ကဟိုတလောလေးတုန်းကနေမကောင်းဖြစ်တုန်းကပြန်ပြီးတော့ရှာတွေ့တယ်ပေါ့လေအဲ့ဒါရှာတွေ့တော့ပြန်ဖတ်ကြည့်တော့အဲ့ဒီ essay လေးကပြောရမယ်ဆိုရင်မဆိုးဘူးဗျာအကြောင်းအရာလေးကလည်း creative ဖြစ်တယ်ပြီးတော့နားထောင်ရတဲ့သူအတွက်လည်းဖတ်ရတဲ့သူအတွက်ပေါ့နော်အခုဆိုရင်တော့ကျွန်တော်ဖတ်ပြမှာဆိုတော့နားထောင်တဲ့သူဖြစ်သွားတာပေါ့အဲ့တော့နားထောင်မဲ့သူဖတ်ရမဲ့သူအတွက်ကကြတော့လည်း exciting ဖြစ်တယ်ရတတစ်ခုရစေနိုင်တယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့တုန်းကရေးတဲ့အခါကျွန်တော်တကယ်ချင်းတယောက်ကိုကျွန်တော်ဆက်စချင်း version ကိုပေးဖတ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့တုန်းကပေးဖတ်တော့တကယ်ချင်းကအဲ့ဒါနင့်ဟာလိုအပ်ချက်တွေရှိတယ်ပေါ့လိုအပ်ချက်တွေဆိုတာessay ကတုံနေပြီးတော့သိပ်ပြီးတော့ details တွေမပါတဲ့အခါကျတော့ပေါ့နေတယ်လို့သူကပြောတယ်အဲ့ဒါနဲ့ကျွန်တော်ကလည်းအားကြမခံကျွန်တော်ကပြန်ပြီးတော့ပိုကောင်းအောင်ရေးမယ်ကွာဆိုပြီးတော့ share ချတာပေါ့လေအဲ့တော့ share ရေးပြီးတော့ထွက်လာတဲ့ဟာအရန်သဘောကျတဲ့လက်ရာတစ်ခုအနေနဲ့ရသွားတယ်ဆိုတော့ဒါကိုဖတ်ပြခြင်းအပြင်ကျွန်တော်ကကျောင်းသားတွေအထူးသဖြင့်အင်္ဂလိပ်စာလုပ်နေတဲ့လူငယ်တွေဆိုတာလဲနော်10တန်းအောင်တဲ့အရွယ်ကနေပြီးတော့အသက်20 30တောက်လျှောက်ပေါ့လေအင်္ဂလိပ်စာလေးလာနေတဲ့ဘယ်သူမှမဆိုပေါ့သူတို့အတွက်ကို inspiration တစ်ခုပေးနိုင်မယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်ထင်တယ်နောက်တစ်ခုကကြတော့ဘာလဲဖြစ်နိုင်သေးလဲဆိုတော့အင်္ဂလိပ်စာသင်နေတဲ့ language teacher တွေဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်းသူတို့ဒီပုံကိုနားထောင်ပြတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်သူတို့လည်းသူတို့ရဲ့ကျောင်းသားတွေကိုပြန်ပြီးတော့ creative writing tasks တွေပါလုပ်ခိုင်းတဲ့အခါမှာလည်းအကြံဉာဏ်တစ်ခုရမယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်ထင်တယ်ကျောင်းသားအတွက်ကတော့အဓိကတော့ inspiration နဲ့ motivation နဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဆရာမတွေအတွက်ကြတော့လည်းနမူနာ example အနေနဲ့ idea sharing လုပ်တဲ့သဘောပေါ့လေအဲ့ဒါလေးကိုကျွန်တော်ကအဲ့ဒီရွယ်ချက်နဲ့ဒီ essay ကိုကျွန်တော်ဖတ်ပြတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်အဲ့တော့ essay ကငယ်တုန်းကရေးထားတဲ့လက်ရာဖြစ်တဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့် perfect တော့မဟုတ်ဘူးဒါပေမဲ့အဲ့ဒီအရွယ်မှာကျွန်တော်ကလည်းရှေ့ပိုင်းမှာစာတွေအများကြီးကျွန်တော်ဖတ်ထားပြီးရသစာပေတွေတော်တော်လေးဖတ်နိုင်နေပြီဖြစ်တဲ့အခါကျတော့ရသတစ်ခုထွက်အောင်လို့ကျွန်တော်စိတ်ကူးပြီးတော့ရေးထားတာဖြစ်တဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်စာကြောင်းတွေအားလုံးကိုစစ်ဆေးလိုက်မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင် 98% လောက်ကတော့အခုအချိန်မှာကျွန်တော်ပြန်ကြည့်တယ်ဆိုရင်လည်းအဆင်ပြေတယ်ကြီးကြီးမားမားပြင်စရာရလို့တိတ်မရှိဘူးပေါ့လေအဲ့တော့အဲ့ဒီအတိုင်းပဲကျွန်တော်ဖတ်မယ်လုံးဝကြီးမှားနေတာမျိုးတော့လည်းမပါဘူးဒါပေမဲ့နည်းနည်းပအတင်းဆောင်ရှိတာလေးတော့ပါမယ်ပေါ့နော်အတင်းဆောင်ရှိမယ်ဆိုတာကအခုအနေနဲ့ပြင်လိုက်တယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အခု version ဖြစ်သွားမှာဆိုလို့လေအဲ့ဒါကြောင့်မပြင်တော့မယ်နဲ့အဲ့ဒီတုန်းကအတိုင်းပဲအဲ့ဒီ version နဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော်ဖတ်မယ်သဘောကျမယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်ထင်တယ်ခန်းစားကြည့်ပါ To my friend who urged me to create this story again and better than before. A thrilling adventure to remember. As my father was a hunter, our family lived in a village near a jungle. The nearest town was miles away from the village. So every time my father and mother went to the town, I used to have to stay in the house alone. I remember vividly an incident that got me into a thrilling adventure when my parents left me alone in the house to buy necessary things from the town. That day, in the evening, my parents went to the town in a jeep. First of all, I watched television when they left. Then, leaving the switch of the TV on, I had my dinner upstairs in my room. After dinner, the telephone rang. I picked up the phone and realized it was from my father. He told me that they would return late and warned me to be aware of animals from the jungle approaching the house. After that, I remember I did not shut the kitchen door properly. Worrying a bit, I went downstairs to lock the doors. First, I went straight into the living room to switch the TV off. All of a sudden, my feet were stiff and could not move as I saw something frightening. To my shock, what I saw was the tail of a tiger sticking out beyond the sofas. The tiger's body was on the sofa. He had his back to me. My God, a tiger was watching TV in the living room. I was in a panic. I did not know what to do. But my wits made me move silently back to my father's room, where his guns were kept. There, I took a rifle and telephoned to my father. It took me about 7 calls before I got onto my dad's mobile phone. Then I told him all about the trouble I was facing in a trembling voice. He asked me to stay quietly in his room, to keep a gun with me, to lock the doors properly, and to trap the tiger in the house. He said he would be back in an hour with other men to catch the creature. After that, I came out from the room and quietly went downstairs again. I knew I had to make sure that the tiger was still in the house. It was the only way to trap and catch the tiger. There I found that dangerous creature still watching and investigating the TV. Now that all the doors in the house were locked, there were only 2 of us inside. So I began to go back upstairs without making a sound. Suddenly, the alarm of my watch burst out loudly. The tiger was alert and then turned back and saw me. In a panic, I instinctively ran straight back to my dad's room for my life. My heart was beating very fast as the tiger followed me. I ran up the stairs as fast as I could. Unfortunately, I slipped and fell down onto my knees. I turned around to see whether the tiger was still following me. Then my eyes opened wide as I saw the tiger pounce upon the stairs with a frightening roar. I felt a thrill run through my spirit. Luckily, I saw a whip on the wall beside me. I had learned from my father how to use a whip skillfully since I was young. Then, with the help of the whip, I tried my best to fight against the tiger. It was a threatening moment while the creature opened its mouth widely and roared in anger. I realized I should try to use a gun. However, the guns were left in my dad's room. So I slowly moved my feet back to the room, but with my body facing the wild creature and making the whip ready in my hand. As I made a backward step to the room, the tiger also made a forward step towards me. It was really terrifying, and I could feel my clothes wet in sweat. Then the tiger made a challenging roar and looked at me. For a moment, my eyes met the creature's. Beyond its eyes was a signal of danger, and I could feel it. I sensed the tiger would kill me sooner or later. At that time, I had reached to my dad's room, and I opened the door to get in. Meanwhile, the tiger ran forward as quick as a flash and pounced upon me. I had no choice. I dived sideways into the room and locked the door from inside. It was a close shave indeed. But I could not move then, as one part of my shirt was left squeezed in the door. I had to reopen the door to get it back. I did not dare to do it because I could hear the tiger's roar beyond the door. So I had to take off my shirt. I thought I was safe, at least for a moment. But I was wrong, as I then heard the tiger scratching the door with its claws. I worried the creature would break the door and invade into the room. If so, I had no way to get out and I would die. Therefore, I took a rifle with me and made myself ready. It was a dreadful hour while I waited alone in the room for my father's return. Then, to my surprise, the tiger stopped roaring and scratching after some moments. Everything was quiet again. It made my curiosity aroused. Was the tiger still near the door? Or did he give up and go back into the jungle? That was what I wanted to find out. So I approached the door step by step until I was very close to it. Unexpectedly at that moment, I heard a loud crash and saw some pieces of wood from the door being broken. I was nervous as a big hole appeared on the door. In front of me was the tiger's head trying to get into the room through the hole. The tiger made a very loud roar to frighten me. I was breathless. Then I saw the creature's claws continue scratching the door to make the hole wider. I knew I was trapped in the room and there was no way to escape. I felt that day was the last day of my life. Meanwhile, an idea suddenly struck me. I remember the guns which could be used with special bullets containing anesthetic. Dad always kept those guns in a box under his bed. So I immediately looked for the box in a rush. Fortunately, I found the box and opened it. There I found those guns with powerful anesthetic. I took one out and tried to test it as fast as I could. There was no excuse to waste a second, and the tiger was about to get into the room. The gun worked properly, and I knew what to do. I got down onto my knees and put the gun on my shoulder. That moment, the tiger had just entered the room. It was then watching me. For an instant, I did not make a single movement. I was as still as a stone when the tiger made itself ready to finish me. My position was directly lined up with the tiger's, so I concentrated my mind and aimed the gun straight towards the creature's head. Finally, with an alarming roar, the tiger ran towards me. I cocked the gun, took a deep breath, and waited for the best target. Then, without hesitation, I fired the gun and closed my eyes. For a moment, I did not open my eyes again. I was thinking, this time, it's all or nothing. After a while, I slowly opened my eyes again. There I found the unconscious tiger lying on the floor. I knew I was safe. What a relief. At that time, I heard a jeep driving towards the house. I felt exhilarated. My dad was coming back to me with his men. I ran downstairs uncontrollably. There I saw them rushing into the living room with guns and weapons. At the time, I was shocked, nervous, frightened, and very tired because of the danger I had just faced. So I ran straight to my parents, held them tight, and then suddenly lost my consciousness in their arms. When I regained my consciousness, I found myself back in my room, lying in the bed with my parents sitting beside me. My dad explained me that his man had caught the tiger and brought it to the zoo. It was a relief to hear the good news, and I felt a lot better. Dad called me a brave and mighty boy, and I was pleased to hear it. At least I got a lesson to close the door properly if necessary. But in fact, it was more than a lesson. I experienced a really unforgettable and thrilling adventure that I had ever had throughout my whole lifetime. And I still remember it.
Hey, I'm Kat, mom of 3 and founder of Ritual, the company setting a new standard in the supplement industry. When I was pregnant, I remember staring at my prenatal vitamins and thinking, what's in this stuff? All I found were vitamins high in heavy metals and lacking in the very essential nutrients we need. So we scoured the world for the best quality ingredients, backed by clinical studies, third-party tested, and Ritual's Essential Prenatal was born. Join our family of skeptics with 40% off your first month when you visit ritual.com/podcast.